The moment is now. Are you ready?
Let's play Armis. Okay, let's take a look. I like to keep my sea vessels close to the coastal waters. And I want to keep my Marines covering everything. This setup looks pretty good. Let's move forward. We get a look at the opponent's Marines, helicopter, jet, and nuke. Nuke's on this side, it's not covered by much. Our child and diplomat are on this side. Well, the child is pretty much in the center, but getting them both in this direction, we only have to concern ourselves with the Marine. So that's a thought for the future. If we push the aircraft carrier in 1, 2, 3, it's not in any direct path of the Air Force or the Marines, so that's a good move to begin with, and then we can use the mover to go in this direction to try to get to these two sea vessels. That looks pretty good as well. Yeah, so we'll start there. Okay, my guess is the Army was placed here more so to open up this area a path for the President, but maybe also to block up an eventual bridge for my diplomat or child to go in this direction, because if anything is in this box, the diplomat will not be able to travel, and if whatever is in this box, if it's a offensive piece such as an army, as opposed to a non-offensive piece such as a mover or a landlocked sea vessel, then the child cannot climb over to get to the nuke. But for right now, we still want to concentrate on the aircraft carrier. The question is where to put it, here or here. Both spots are out of the way of the Air Force, and now it's just a matter of which one is more strategic placement. I'm going to go with right here. Now my Marine can go 1, 2, 3 and embark. This Marine can't board immediately. 1, 2, 3. It would need at least 2 moves in order to board that aircraft carrier. what I'm looking for now, or looking out for, is this Marine either coming in this area or coming onto the coastal waters in these two areas, because I would rather use this Marine to protect this area against this Marine than to use this Marine to do the same job. But this Marine can board immediately, this one can't. So if this one was to make an immediate move, I would more than likely use this Marine to come and board. But because there's activity in this area, I'll keep him here and push this one up. Now if this Marine goes over here, this jet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 would actually be covering this box right here. So if this Marine was to go here, it would be covered by this jet with this box vacant. Now with this Marine over here, 1, 2, 3, it has this open to it, this open to it. Although both of them are covered by me, it's open to threat. Now if I'm using my jet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, basically once you count off 5 spaces, anything after that the jet is powerless against. So it's 5 spaces away, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's not a consideration for the jet. Sometimes, if for example I had my president behind the jet, for instance here, and nothing over here, then I would consider whatever space behind it, because at that point I can fly over and then the president would have a clear access, and even if it captured, meaning the Marine captured my jet, then my president would be able to capture the Marine. Let's move forward. Let's just take a look again at what was the most recent move. Alright, it's the Vice President over here. Okay. Alright, my guess is that my opponent soon will gather that I'm looking to come onto the, or push my Coast Guard onto the Polder Valley, or at least get into this range. So this Marine, I'm a little bit surprised that he brought this one over that close, but this Marine will probably come in this range, or in this area, as it did. And then I'll bring my, or I'm thinking about it, this is an open thought, to bring my Marine on board over here, because now this is my opponent's weak side, or reinforce this area over here, because now whatever I push in, he's got 2 Marines to attack it. As we go further and further away from these 2 Marines, 1, 2, 3, so this is covered from this Marine, but this Marine, it's 1, 2, 3. It only extends this far. So I only have double coverage on this box and this box. well, here as well. But for my opponent, it has double coverage here, here, and here. So these two boxes have double coverage apiece. So I need triple coverage in order for me to wage an attack, or at least allow, put something up to start the action. So in other words, if I push something in, chances are that's going to take a lot. Well, let's see. If I do nothing, the likelihood is great, because I've seen it in the past. Not a move that I think is wise on the part of the computer, but to take the landlocked sea vessel, because it's a military piece. A lot of times these military pieces are viewed as military, just like the Marine is a military piece, except for, to me, when it's landlocked and not in action in a sea area that the vessel is empowered in, then to me it's worth a little bit less, or maybe even a lot less, because it takes a lot just to get the vehicle in. Let's see if I can get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I'm counting off to try to see if I could cover 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I go here, alright, if I go here with the jet, it's out of range of my coverage, but within range of attack for this Marine. So that's no good for me. And I can't push my Marine any further in this direction, because this Marine has got this basically covered, all of this area covered. If I make another move past this line here, I'm basically in need of coverage. Now, if I did go here or here, then I would have some form of coverage, not enough, not something that I'm comfortable with, but the jet would be able to fly over and cover the Marine. But I'm not looking for that level of coverage. I'm not looking to trade Marines. But something's telling me that that these guys want to attack my Coast Guard, and maybe even the submarine, but more than likely the Coast Guard. So I want to see if I can get something out there. See, if I put the Marine here, I'm pretty sure 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's a safe zone, and that would pose the most immediate threat, or should I say, that would pose the most immediate coverage threat. Basically trying to tell my opponent go away for this piece, and then it will enable me to get my helicopter out here so that I can either board my aircraft carrier or cover this Marine in the meantime. I mean, this submarine. It's worth a shot. He doesn't have any of his birds close enough to this box to protect anything that it might want to do. So I'm hoping this pushes the threat away. But let's see what it does. Okay, I'm thinking that if I move my helicopter here and move the jet, the aircraft carrier, wow. and move the aircraft carrier here, then I could move it here, then I can board the aircraft carrier with my helicopter. 1, 2, 3. Alright, that's covered. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't take it with anything other than my Marine, and so that's what I'm going to have to do. Then it will probably follow through with the other Marine, although sometimes I've seen it back off. But I think it's already, or should I say, I think I'm already up, regardless of how this works out, by my opponent starting the trouble with the capture of my submarine. And I thought it was going to take the Coast Guard, and just a remote chance that it might take the submarine. Then of course I thought that my movement of placement of this Marine here would ward off or shoo away the other threat. It just did not work. Alright, so that skirmish is finished, and I am, as far as I'm concerned, I am up, because I'm really only looking at the 2 Marines versus the 1 Marine. The submarine was on land, and it wasn't my, I put that in water, but only after putting in the Coast Guard, because the Coast Guard to me works as a better bridge, and the aircraft carrier in terms of deep sea vessels is a little better, because I can actually board it with aircraft. Let's see here. Right, I got to put a buffer over here, because it is highly likely that the president would come down and take the diplomat, and if I move the diplomat out of the way, then it would still come down and take the jet, and I don't want to lose either one of those. It is less likely, although it might, it is less likely that it will take the child, because then it would lose its diplomat and religion. And as long as I have my nuke available, which can only be taken by the diplomat or the child, then it is not likely that my opponent will take my child and lose 50% of its ability to take my nuke. 50% meaning it will forfeit its diplomat if it takes my child. With that, I'm going to put a threat onto, well, I wanted to, but now that it covered, I wanted to use my Marine to come here to put a threat onto the president. But now that it has covered the president with the Army, I think I'm going to let that go for now. But the child has no coverage other than the Marine, and I want to use the Marine to advance in this direction. But I'm going to use my helicopter to board that aircraft carrier to see if I can get something that's close by. A lot of times I like to leave the landlocked sea vessels on land, because if my opponent is not able to move those pieces, then the reserve remains in place. I don't want to do some of the homework for my opponent by taking them out if I don't have to. I'd rather focus on taking out this mover than taking out these individual landlocked sea vessels. Okay, with this jet here, nothing there for me to worry about, nothing here directly for me to worry about. If it came down, okay, Alright, I don't see anything right now. Alright, so that's still a good plan. Now, let's see here. There's no offensive pieces in this area right here. The jet just moved out of it. So, using my Marine to come up in this area is a good idea. I need to have taken 3 of my opponent's military. I only took 2 for the nuke to be active. If I take the reserve, that will make the nuke active or armed. But it has to be 2 spaces away from its own flag. So that's still a good move. Alright, so 1, 2, 3. If I went here, that would threaten the Army, threaten the Vice President, and threaten the helicopter all at the same time. Here, 1, 2, 3, and the reserve. And if I took the reserve, the helicopter could fly over and take the Marine. So I would need to take that first. So more than likely the Vice President will come here or here or here to cover this, and here would be the most likely choice so that the helicopter can cover it. And if I took the mover, then the Vice President would still be covering if it was here. So that's a thought, but not a good one. Let's see if I can get this boarded, the helicopter boarded, so that I can try to see what I can do about getting that Vice President. If I move the aircraft carrier here, then I can do a flyover. 1, 2, 3. That's not good. I would need to move. I would need this space here in order to land. That's not good. If I went here with the aircraft carrier. Alright, so now with the nuke more than 2 spaces away from the flag, it's in a good position to cover the reserve. So that means that I need to think about using my child and diplomat to secure the or capture the nuke. But let's see. Trying to see if there's anything else that I can do to get this, and I don't see anything. So right now there are no immediate plans for my helicopter with the aircraft carrier. And going up in this direction, that has been put on the back burner as well, because it's a little tight with this VP here. I don't see the reason why this was pulled out, but I'll probably see that soon. I'm not going to use my president to threaten it right now. I'll just let it stay for the immediate. And I think since most of the executive is over here, then I'll start off by using my instead of using the child, which can travel faster than the diplomat. The diplomat can't get taken. Well, since there's no offensive pieces around other than the jet, which is very difficult to get anything up close, then I will use the child to begin, because it is faster. I was going to use the diplomat because even though it's slower, there's only 2 pieces on the board that can take it directly, and that's the president and vice president. So all the other offensive pieces, it would just walk on by it. but since there is nothing, for the most part, no offensive pieces on that side, I've got a good chance of not running into any trouble. Okay, I like that, because although it doesn't totally commit the president to come in this area, because it can go back to this space here, it does, if I'm able to get my president over here, it may commit this president to take it, and in that case then I can take the capturing president with my Marine, and then make it easier for me to capture this army not too long after. So that's why I like that move, and that's another reason why I didn't use my president to threaten the jet, because I wanted to try to see if I can do something that would have a double effect. In this case, I want to go here, and since I want to go here, then I can threaten him at the same time and have him do something, as opposed to having this one move out of the way, anticipating my move. Well, I could not have gotten anything sweeter. At this point now, I get to threaten directly, and the president can't run. So either it takes my president and then I get to take it, or it gets taken by my president, and then when the army takes my president, then I come somewhere around in here that threatens both the army as well as the jet. Wow, I got a little lucky there. Now, I would probably, let's see, if I go here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I can't do that because the jet will be able to take it. If I go 1, 2, 3, then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, the jet will be able to take that one. 1, 2, 3, that's as far as I can go there. If I go here, it's out of jet range, and I'm in range of both the jet, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, the army. So I'm likely to get one of those two. Let's see what happens. Alrighty. Alright, I don't know the purpose for that move, but if I go here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Alright, I wanted to try to see if I can have pose a double threat, and it's a little bit too far out for me. I can only, I'm threatening the president and 1, 2, 3, and the aircraft carrier. I don't really count the aircraft carrier too much because it's not in It's not empowered. But I wanted to try to pose a threat both on the jet and the president. If the president goes here or here, then I believe that I should be able to get the mover. The helicopter 1, 2, 3, 4 has no landing there, and the jet 1, 2, 3, 4, it would be off the board in terms of a landing there. So that's good. If I go here, it is within range of its nuke, but if it detonated, it would take out just about everything except my opponent's air force, the helicopter and the jet, and at that point it would be tremendously weak. So I'll take that gamble. I guess I could have used the child to take the nuke before doing that move and not taking any gamble whatsoever. So that I didn't think too hard. I should have thought a little harder and just taken the nuke first. There was no rush to take that mover. Okay, now with the nuke gone, I can focus a little bit more on getting that reserve, and the only way I can get the reserve is to take the helicopter first, and the only way to get the helicopter is to take the president first. If the child moves, which it just did, now the helicopter is covering the president. But now if I put my child here, if the president takes my child, then that's okay. It loses its diplomat religion, and there was something that the religion was covering for. Oh, my helicopter. So I'll involve my helicopter in that area if I could. Okay. Ooh, alright. That works for me. The helicopter is covered by the president. The president is covered by the helicopter. But, and I didn't notice this earlier, I didn't have to notice it earlier. The reserve was covered both by the helicopter and the president when this space was vacant. But when this space became occupied, then the only piece that was covering the reserve was the president. Now that the president has come over here, the reserve is no longer covered. So I can just go right in there. So I didn't have to take the president or the helicopter. Now the next move is to take the flag. Fantastic. That's the game. Thanks for watching and have a good day.